What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake. Welcome to the Haunted Beard, and thank you for joining me. So, the year 2024 has only a few days left before it is over and done with. And I wanted to do a video that kind of gives me the chance to kind of look back through all the horror movies that I saw this past year and talk about my favorite horror movie moments. And so today, that's what I'm bringing you. My 10 favorite horror movie moments from 2024. And these are going to be kind of all-inclusive, just my own personal favorite, the best moments, the scariest moments, the most disturbing moments, the most intense, thrilling moments. Just my favorite movie moments in horror movies this past year. So, like I said, I've got 10 of them for you. This isn't necessarily a ranking video as much as it just is kind of a list of my 10 favorite moments, although I will say my number one moment is my definitive number one and favorite moment of the year. So, before I get into it though, I'm going to go ahead and issue a spoiler warning because it's going to be impossible to talk about most of these without getting into spoilers. So, if you still want to try to watch this and avoid some spoilers, I'll put the timestamps down in the description so you can kind of, jump around a little bit. So, without further ado, let's do it. So coming in at number 10 is the dark web video scene from Red Rooms. This is a film that is a little bit more in the hidden gem sort of category of 2024, although I have recently started to see more people talk about it, which is good because it is one of the better films that I saw this past year. But the scene here in this movie that most stood out to me was when our main protagonist, the girl that we've been following throughout the entire film, finally gains access to this video on the dark web. And man, this scene is deeply unsettling for a couple reasons. First of all, this is a great example where your mind fills in what you can't see and it makes it worse, right? And so we as the audience don't actually see what she's watching, but we hear everything, and it is absolutely horrifying. And so it's horrifying in that respect because, again, your brain sort of fills in the images based on the sounds that are coming from the computer, but also the expression on her face is equally as unsettling because this is like the most awful and horrific video you could ever watch, at least based on the sound of it. And to see this woman here watch this with a completely blank expression on her face is really messed up and just kind of really gets, under your skin a little bit. Man, that scene really stood out to me. Just a very memorable scene from a really solid film. If you haven't seen Red Rooms yet, definitely check it out. It is one of the better films from 2024. Coming in at number 9 is the alien invasion skydiving scene from VHS Beyond. And this comes out of the Live and Let Dive segment from that movie. And man, this was such a blast. I absolutely loved this entire segment, but that particular sequence was just a complete thrill ride. I was so impressed with the camera work here. I would love to see a behind the scenes, kind of making of to see how they pulled this off. And the setup is so fantastic because as somebody you couldn't pay me enough to actually go skydiving. And so it starts off, and you kind of see everybody on edge, but then you throw in this completely unexpected thing where, oh yeah, we're not only going skydiving, there happens to be an alien invasion while we're getting ready to jump out of a plane. And man, that plane hits the UFO and it's just a full adrenaline plummet to earth from there. Man, I was so impressed. I had the biggest smile on my face. This is just pure white knuckle adrenaline fueled fun as you watch this guy plummet to earth and seeing these alien also fall down to earth as well during this alien invasion. I mean, it was just so over the top and so much fun. My favorite segment of that film. And I was just really impressed by the camera work here and just the kind of the pure insanity of it all. I thought it was just awesome. Coming in at number 8 is the interrogation scene from Longlegs, one of my favorite films of the year. And man, this is just such a fantastic scene. I was very impressed with both the performances from Micah Monroe and of course Nicolas Cage. And this is the film is kind of, has built up to this point in the movie to where you finally get this opportunity to have both of these people sit down in this room, and you're kind of just sitting there in anticipation, waiting on bated breath, like, what's going to happen? How's this all going to go down? What is he going to say? What is he going to do? And man, this scene delivers. They finally come together in this interrogation room. And man, I was a huge fan of Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie, but this scene, he just really shines. What a character, what a performance. And everything kind of builds up, you're just kind of sitting there and you're just really unsettled and really creeped out. And then out of nowhere, he decides to permanently reconfigure his face by smashing his head into the table. And I would imagine I had a reaction like probably everybody did. Totally unexpected, totally shocking. And then, he does it again and again. And each time his face is just a bloody, mangled mess. And you're just like, dude, this guy is completely unhinged. What in the world is going on? It's shocking. It's unexpected. It's bloody. It's just a great horror movie moment. And that's why it's at number 8 on this list.
Hail Satan.
Next up at number 7 is the alien blood in zero gravity scene from Alien Romulus. Man, this was such a good time. I had so much fun with this movie. This, I feel like, one of the more divisive films of the year, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was so impressed with Fede Alvarez's direction in this movie. And there was at least probably 3 sequences from this movie that I was debating. There's the scene earlier on when the face huggers attack. Then there's a scene a little bit later where they have to be extremely quiet walking through the room so the face huggers don't attack them again. But I went with the alien blood in zero gravity. And man, this is such a great idea, and it's just beautifully executed. And I think what helps sell this scene too is that it is really a part of the big kind of climactic, moment of the film. It's just been building and building and building, and things are getting more intense and more crazy and more, adrenaline fueled. And then you get this where you see just all this blood swirling around the spaceship, and they got to kind of, navigate and follow the maze, through the blood. It's just such a great idea. Like, the concept alone, how could it not work, right? It's like you sold me as soon as I saw alien blood in zero gravity, and I'm just like, oh, but of course, this is a great idea. And they execute the scene extremely well. I thoroughly enjoyed that scene, and that's why it's on my list. Coming in at number 6 is the shower kill from Terrifier 3. Probably the best kill, at least the most gruesome kill from any movie I saw this past year. And what can I say? I'm a Terrifier fan. I know, yes, they are extremely egregious and self-indulgent and over the top and just, self-absorbed, whatever you want to say about it. I get it, sure. But man, these movies are quite a bit of fun. And I really enjoyed part 3 as well. But man, the shower scene really stands out. Might be my favorite kill in the entire trilogy so far. It's pretty close with the bedroom kill from part 2. But I like, you can't help but kind of think a little bit to Psycho. So maybe there's a bit of a nod there to that classic scene. But obviously it ups things quite a bit in the blood and gore department. But look, man, this scene is over the top, and really the entire film, it's almost like, pick a kill scene and you could, use it for a list like this. But man, the people in the team working on, the makeup and the special effects and practical effects, and Damien Leone and the people he surrounds himself with, these guys are absolutely incredible, extremely talented individuals. And this scene is just everything you would want in an Art the Clown kill. It's mean-spirited, it's nasty, and yet at the same time, it's still fun and entertaining. I don't know how Leone does it, but he somehow is able to, make all that work and come together. Yeah, I mean, it's just a completely ridiculous, horrifically graphic and brutal and gory kill, but that's why we like those movies. The shower scene, man, I won't forget it anytime soon, that's for sure. Next up at number 5 is going to be the bicycle chase sequence in Cuckoo. And I feel like this is such a unique scene, and in that it kind of captures this feeling, this sensation of being a kid and being scared of the dark. It kind of takes that fear and makes it come to life, right? Like, if you've ever been a kid and like you're walking down this hallway and then like the lights turn off and you immediately get that sensation of like, I gotta sprint and get out of here because now the monsters are chasing me. That's what this gives you. And I just really like how the scene is shot and the usage of lighting. How the lighting and the shadows are used here make it really effective because, you see Hunter Schafer and, she's riding her bicycle home at night, and it's kind of this slow realization that she's like, am I seeing that right? Is there something there as, she looks down and on the road and seeing these shadows and this silhouette of like, is something following me? What in the world's going on? And so I just like how it uses the lighting to kind of build that, tension gradually a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the camera pans behind her and then there it is. And it's just like, what in the world is this thing? And it just gives you that feeling of, the monsters are chasing me, run, 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 run. So yeah, it's a great scene. I really liked it. And, yeah, that's why it's on my list. All right, next up at number 4, and this scene is without a doubt the most anxiety-inducing, brutal, disturbing, and depraved scene of the entire year, and that is the ending scene from The Coffee Table. And I'm going to just call it the What's Under the Chair scene, because if you know, you know. And like I said, this is going to include spoilers, so you have been warned yet again. But of course, you know that what is under the chair is the decapitated head of this couple's infant child. And only the husband knows about it because of the accident and the scene that happens earlier on in the movie where he falls over a coffee table. And he has been trying to deal with this and sort of keep the secret and to prevent his wife from finding out. Well, of course, everything culminates into this climactic moment that is just, it's almost indescribable. You just kind of have to see it to believe it. I watch most movies all by myself, and I don't really talk or say anything while I'm watching a movie. But if I do, it's because something crazy really happened. Well, man, when that dog comes in and it starts, digging and sniffing underneath the couch, I sat there and I said out loud to myself, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The realization of what's getting ready to happen, of this reveal, it's wild, man. This scene is just so completely unhinged. It's so brutal. It's so anxiety filled. I've really just never seen anything quite like it. It's just something else. I'm struggling to even find the right words that I feel like are impactful enough to really describe this scene. But yeah, it's something else. I don't know what else to say, but I feel like I've said enough. So yeah, that's why the What's Under the Chair scene of The Coffee Table is my number 4.
¿Y qué escondes ahí, Carlos?
¡Es una cabeza!
Una cabeza.
Next up at number 3 is the reveal of Count Orlok from Nosferatu. This is a film I just saw a couple days ago, and it's still fresh on my mind. And man, I can't wait to see this again. I was a huge fan. Check out my review for this movie if you want. By the way, I have reviews for all of these films on my channel, so if you want some more in-depth thoughts, check them out. But anyways, Nosferatu, man, just a beautiful film. A terrific and incredible performance by Bill Skarsgård, but the scene in particular that I'm talking about, we see him before this scene, but this is when Nicholas Hoult is running through the castle and he stumbles upon the coffin, and he opens it up and he sees in all his glory Count Orlok, and this is where you really get a good clear look at this guy, and man, it is just very, very memorable. And I think what helps make this moment so memorable and what helps sell the effectiveness of it and the impact is because they kept the look of Count Orlok out of all the marketing. So I went into this having not a clue what he was going to look like. And while you catch kind of little glimpses of him and a few moments prior to this, this is like the first full reveal, and to just kind of see, you know, the creativity and the vision on display of this creature was just really, really cool. It also helped too that this was my most anticipated movie of the year, so the expectations, you know, were high going into it, and I just felt like it fulfilled those expectations. But what even makes this moment a little bit better is that Nicholas Hoult grabs it's either a stake or an axe to try to kill the Count, only the Count stops him and he reaches up and grabs his arm out of the casket, and then the Count stands up inside the casket, and man, you see him and he's standing there completely naked, and it's just like, what in the world? And you see this guy who is like this living, you know, skeleton, but he's so imposing and so threatening and so terrifying looking. And it's just a great, shocking, crazy moment from a great movie. And so, yeah, it's just an all-around awesome scene, and I loved it. And so that's why it's my number 3.
I'm ready.
Next up at number 2 is The Hallway of Spiders in Infested. This is another film that I feel like a little more underrated, a little bit of a hidden gem, not one of the more talked about films, but such a great film. This is a French film, a Shudder original as well, and man, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. And creature features is not typically one of my more kind of favorite or go-to subgenres, but man, this movie brought it. And this is coming from somebody who, I wouldn't say I'm arachnophobic, but I'm not a fan. I don't like spiders all that much. And so this movie, man, it gave me the heebie-jeebies, like truly. There were times where I was watching the movie where, like, no kidding, I was kind of looking up at the ceiling, just making sure there weren't any spiders crawling around me while I was watching it. But everything builds to this incredible moment where you've got this cast of characters and they are trying to get out of this apartment because it has become completely infested with spiders. And they have to go down this long hallway. And there's a shot where the camera pulls back as you get the reveal of what they're getting ready to have to go through. And it's this hallway that is just completely overrun by all these spiders. And it was just one of those moments that I knew as I was watching it, I was like, this is going to be one of the 10 best horror moments of the year for sure. It just implanted itself in my brain right then and there. I was like, this is a fantastic moment. And it's just the impact of that one shot. And then what precedes is, you know, all the characters trying to navigate down this hallway in just one of the most, you know, anxiety-inducing, just white-knuckle, you know, fist-clenched types moments. It's just so good, especially if you're like myself and spiders kind of freak you out a little bit. Just all around a fantastic film, but that scene down the hallway I thought was just awesome. But coming in at number 1, and this is definitively my favorite horror movie moment of the year, and that is the Eliza Sue monster scene in The Substance. Man, this movie overall is just fantastic, but the climax it builds to is absolutely wonderful. This is a movie that it hits like all the different horror emotions that I want to feel and experience in a horror movie, and what it leads up to is just incredible. The creature design in this movie is just incredible, absolutely amazing. The practical effects here are just so well done. The makeup, the costuming, everything, it's so incredible. And what this leads up to, you know, is of course you get Elizabeth and Sue being fused together in this horrific and grotesque monster creature of Eliza Sue. And this thing, it's just something else. And I've never seen anything like it. Of course, the body horror is just fantastic and over the top great. And just watching that whole sequence unfold, man, when it started spraying blood all over the audience, I just sat there like with the biggest smile, with my jaw dropped, my eyes wide open, I kind of just speechless. This movie just kind of floored me. And I was like, this is unbelievable. This is just, it's kind of one of those scenes where it's like, this is why I love horror movies. Like, This is why I watch. When a movie just can kind of hit you that way, it's just very special. And the climactic sequence of this movie, man, I was having just such a fun time. So yeah, the Eliza Sue monster, man, it's something else. It's great stuff. So there you go. That is my 10 favorite horror movie moments of the year. Hit me up down below. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know some of your favorite moments and your favorite horror movie scenes of the year. This is a video, man, I could have easily done 20, 25, 30 of these things. There's a lot of really good stuff this year to choose from. But anyways, those are my thoughts, and that is my list. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate everybody. If you got anything out of this video, go ahead and do me a favor and do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard.